Greetings, Sir Charles the Eclectic Geek here. I'd like to thank you for joining me right now, and I'm going to be giving you a quick introduction to SED. SED is a very handy text editing tool. I've been using it for a long time with Linux, and was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she made the comment that she's not very familiar with it, and hey, how about a quick little how-to on some of the most common uses? Sure. I tend to use SED in a number of different ways to swap out pieces of text, replace pieces of text within a file in Linux in one of two ways. Either at the command line, really quick, down and dirty, bam, done. And then also in script files so they happen in conjunction with other series of steps that I'm working on at a given moment. So that if I'm actually going ahead and, let's say, for example, setting up an automated server build, for example, I may go ahead and actually configure a number of configuration files, set settings for Linux or PHP configuration files, etc., that kind of thing on the fly. And using SED in conjunction with regular expressions, which you'll see in a few moments here, you can go ahead and knock out a lot of things very quickly, very easily by doing that. So I want to go ahead and give you a number of quick examples that I'm going to go ahead and do from the command line. But anything that I do from the command line, there's no reason at all that you can't also do these exact same things directly from within a script. And I'll do a couple of these using some environment variables right from the command line, so you can actually see how using these variables in a script could easily be swapped out for you. So let's go to the screen. All right, as you can see here, we got a nice simple little bash console. I've got a nice simple little text file here called filename.txt. Text.ext. Nice simple little one line of text in the file. Nothing too complicated, very simple. Now, with SED, there's a number of ways that you can actually execute the command. You can execute the command inline, where whatever the file is you're working with, you can make the modifications right there. You can go ahead and have the output from whatever command you're working with. You can actually process the file and then send it to another file. You can do all sorts of different things. Just for convenience sake, I'm going to modify this file on the fly and just go ahead and do it right to this file, so we basically see it happening in real time. There's a number of different parameters. For those of you who don't know the command, the man command in Linux is one of your best friends. By typing man sed, and you can tell I can't type, by typing man sed, you can pull up the manual page for sed and get all of the different many parameters that are available to you. It'll give you a quick introduction to some of the regular expression options that are available. The regular expression itself is a whole nother ball of wax, which I definitely recommend you give a whirl to sometime. There's a lot of very good videos out there. I'll try and throw a couple of links to videos that I've looked at in the past in the comments for this video. But there's a lot of very good sources out there. Once you get your brain around it, regular expressions really are not that hard to learn. And once you do have them in your back pocket, it's amazing the number of times they're like, oh, I can do that with it? Ooh, that makes that a lot quicker. That's a lot faster. It happens in a lot of little places I found. So anyway, man pages are your friend, regular expressions are your friend. But anyway, getting back to SED. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a modification to this file in line. I'm going to go ahead and issue the SED command with the -i inline parameter. Now I'm going to go ahead and issue a single quote to start the parameter for what I'm going to go ahead and modify, or for what I'm going to tell SED to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start by saying this is what I'm going to start with SED to telling SED to do, basically. Now I need to go ahead and segment out the different parts of the command I want to do. I need to tell it the old text and then the new text. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tell it the first thing I want to replace, and then what I want to go ahead and replace it with. So here's the first thing I'm going to do, is I need to put a delimiter character in place. I'm going to go ahead and use the tilde. Basically, whatever character you want to use to delimit the different components of this SED string that you're going to put into place, my recommendation is use a character that's not going to be used in your file. So use something that's unique. It'll just make your life easier. I know you can see from the text file for text.ext, there's no tildes in there, so that'll work out well for us. So s tilde text.ext, and then we're going to go ahead and have that get replaced with new.ext, and then we're going to put tilde G at the very end of it. Now, sed by default will only go ahead and find a single instance of something to be replaced in a given line, and then it'll go ahead and stop, unless if you put the G parameter instance. Now, in this case, you can see text.ext, there's only one instance of it, so we're only going to get one replacement, and then we're going to go ahead and actually simply drop out. If there were text.ext multiple times in that one line, the G at the end of this would simply go ahead and find every instance of it and just take us all the way through. Would make your life a lot easier. Now, the one other parameter we do need to specify is we need to tell sed what file we're going to process against, and filename.txt. So, with that, we've just simply executed the sed command against this file, and now we'll go ahead and type out this file. So, if everything went according to plan, we should now get output that says textnew.ext. We didn't get that. Why didn't we get that? This is where regular expressions are coming into play. Regular expressions have special characters that do special things, of course. In this instance, the character that's giving us a problem right now is the period. In text.ext, what regular expression is actually seeing is not text.ext, it's actually seeing text wildcard ext. So where we were actually hoping to match text.ext, in actuality, what we really matched was text-text. So text-text got replaced with new.ext. So technically the sed command worked, but it replaced the wrong thing for what we expected to actually happen. So you need to be careful when you're dealing with regular expressions with regards to special characters. Now, I did this intentionally in this case so that we can go ahead and see this kind of thing happen in your very first instance of working with sed, but it's one thing you do need to be aware of, to be careful of for your future reference. Take a look into regular expressions, see what different characters are considered special characters, periods, asterisks, square brackets. There's quite a few of them. I think the total is 9 to 10 of them different special characters. Be familiar with them and just be aware of them when you are doing this kind of thing. Now, in our case, is there a way to get around this? Yes, there's a very simple way to get around this, and we'll get to that in just a moment here. Now, I made a backup of this file name called original, and we'll go ahead and copy it over the original file name. Oops. And so we're now back to the original text.ext. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to issue an extra command, or we're going to modify this first sed command we used before to tell sed to ignore the period being a regex, regular expression character, and just to treat it as a period. The more colloquial terminology for this is we're going to go ahead and escape the period so it just gets handled as a period. I'm going to go ahead and arrow back up to the original command that we were dealing with. And to escape any special character, you simply go ahead and throw a slash in front of it. So now, when we execute this sed command, what will end up happening is we'll go ahead and actually treat the string as text.ext. And now when we print out filename.txt, we actually get textnew.ext as we suspected. Now, in this example, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use a command line variable called str. We're going to go ahead and define a string with that str, and we're going to use that to go ahead and actually replace a string within the file name, just like we did last time. Now, using the command line variable, using the environment variable this time, we'll be able to basically mimic the same type of thing that you would actually use in a script. So where I was talking about earlier where we could use this sed command within scripts and whatnot, this is how you'd actually do this type of thing. So we're going to go ahead and define the str variable. And remember, we need to go ahead and escape the period, just like you would, or else if we didn't escape the period, we would have the same problem we had in the last example. So now the str variable has been defined. Now, wait a minute. We didn't get the actual slash showing up there. In this case, you need to do a slash to escape the slash, to then keep the slash in place for the environment variable to stay in place. Now, when we actually use the environment variable in the sed command, the slash then should carry through for the actual sed command. Let's see if this one works. So nesting slashes, nesting escapes can get a little complicated sometimes. I freely admit that. So looking at cat filename.txt, which I restored before going into this example, we're looking here. We'll do sed s tilde $str. We're looking for the variable. We're going to replace it with new.ext as last time. And we'll specify the G again, even though we know there's only the one instance of it. And we'll also specify filename.txt. So this should go ahead and do the swap. Oops, I apologize. I forgot to do the -i. Now when we cat it, we see nothing happened. Here's another instance of where certain things within sed become very, very finicky. With sed, when you're using single quotes to specify the string, the single quotes tell sed treat anything within the single quotes also as literals. So if I have a variable being specified in here, it's not a variable, it's a string. So in this case, $str is being treated as $str, not as the variable. We get around that by replacing the entire thing with double quotes. The double quotes now will the double quotes will now handle $str as a variable, not as a simple string. Now we do cat file name. Now we get the text new.txt. So we had to escape the str twice, the 2 slashes to get the first slash into the variable. That slash period then carried through into the sed command, the second one we issued, with the double quotes to then allow the variable $str to actually be processed by the sed command. In this example, what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you a way that I've used in the past to go ahead and remove comments, or more specifically, certain lines of comments from code that I've wanted to remove from shell scripts in the past. Looking at this example, I've got codesample.sh here. Now, pretty simple for the most part. I've got a number of comments in here. There's 2 comments at the very beginning that start with a single pound sign, and then 2 comments in the very end that start with 2 pound signs. Now, what I want to do in this instance is I want to get rid of the lines that just start with a single pound symbol. Now, for whatever reason, I've decided that whenever I put a comment that has 2 pound symbols, I want those to stay persistent for whatever reason. This is code that when it actually is deployed into production, I want it to actually be out there. But the single comments are just notes to myself while I'm doing development, or notes to other team members as we're working together on a project. That's for whatever reason I've decided to go ahead and do that. But I want to go ahead and do a cleanup at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and remove something where I just want these single pound lines to be gotten rid of. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and issue a sed command. So sed-i, as before. Again, I'm not dealing with any variables here, so I can use the single quote this time. Now, one thing that is different here is since I'm not doing a replace, I'm not actually going to go ahead and use a tilde or any special characters there. I'm just going to use a standard backslash. This backslash is because I'm going to go ahead and use at the very end, the ending command I'm going to use is /d. The /d is a special command to tell sed to delete this entire line. So whatever is going to get matched, whatever's going to get matched in here, in this section in the middle here, this matching parameter, everything else is going to get, this entire line is going to get removed. If you match this section, kill it. That's what this is going to mean. But now one thing I do need to be careful of, though, is the bin bash line at the very beginning. I don't want that line to get removed. I need to know what my command interpreter is going to be, so I need to be sure that stays. Now, you notice all my comments all start #. So, what I want to do is I want to get rid of a pound, but I also want to get rid of a space. Now, in regular expression parlance, a space is denoted by /s. A regular space character doesn't always translate correctly, but a /s does always translate as a space. So I'm going to use the /s to go ahead and match the #, to go ahead and get rid of these two guys at the very, very beginning. All right. Now with all that done, the last thing I need to go ahead and specify is the name of my file. With that done, I hit enter. I go ahead and type out my file, and I see that all my comments are gone, including the two at the very end. Why is that? Again, regular expression matched it because even though I got that matching, that # did also match. I didn't tell it to just match from the start of the line. That is another regular expression special character I should have specified. So, I've got another copy of this code sample original file. I'm going to go ahead and copy this guy over. So we're starting with the original file again. Now when I go ahead and specify the sed command, I'm to tell this that when I'm doing I want to go ahead and match the #, it has to match from the start of the line. The start of line special character for regular expressions is a caret. So I'm now telling sed it must be from the start of line, #. So in the instances of my last two lines here, these guys won't match. These two lines will remain. Now, this guy is start of line #, but it's exclamation point, not space. This won't match. So my first line here in the shell script will remain. We'll go ahead and run this command. We'll print out this guy, and there we go. Our first two comments are gone. Our last two comments are in place. And our command interpreter line at the very beginning is still intact. We're good to go. Okay, one of the last things that I do like to do from time to time is simply go ahead and just remove characters from a file completely. Every once in a while there's just stuff in there that I need to remove, a couple of extra characters, accidental repeating characters, or whatever, but I need to just remove those characters, but not the entire line. So the /d that we were looking at a few moments ago, that deletes the entire line once you have a partial match of any of that line. I don't want the entire line gone. I just want part of the line gone. I want a section of characters gone, etc. So looking at our filename.txt here, let's say, for example, in this case, I just simply want all instances of EX gone. That's all I want to have removed. Simple as that. Now, in this case, it's almost too obvious what you'd want to do. It's just going to be as simple as sed-i, the same s tilde as before, and we're going to want to match the EX, but instead of telling it what we want to replace it with, we're just going to tell it we want to replace it with nothing. And again, just like before, we're going to match it. We're going to go ahead and put the G parameter in there to tell it to match every instance in the file. So if we don't do that, it'll go ahead and just remove the first instance and then drop out because one and done. In this case, we'll go ahead and do file name.txt. All three instances of EX are removed. Now, if we restore the original file, pull up the sed command again, remove the G, and then cat out this file, you'll see what I mean. Without the G in there, only the first instance of the EX gets removed. The other two instances stay in there. The G, the way I personally use the mnemonic to remember, the G keeps sed going. So the G going, going, going. Without the G, one and done. So that's just a mnemonic that I use to remember. If you want to have more than one match on a given line, take care of it. Add the G in there. For me, 99 out of 100 times, I pretty much always want the G in there. I normally leave it in by default. And with that, that's sed. Those are my 4 biggest uses of sed. When you go ahead and want to simply replace some characters, when you want to go ahead and remove some characters and then delete a couple of lines, and the delete selected lines. That's really all there is to it that I predominantly use sed for. Are there a lot more uses? Undoubtedly. Am I going to go ahead and get yelled at by a number of my Linux friends who say, that's all you use sed for when you can use it for so many more things? I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of razzing from them. I know I'm going to get all kinds of comments. You know what? If people have more suggestions, more uses for sed, more most commonly uses that they have, feel free to put them in the comments. Feel free to put suggestions out there. Be more than happy to add more comments in the future, more videos in the future. I'm just simply throwing out there the way I'm using it at the moment. But if anyone has any other suggestions, requests, put them there. If there's anything else anybody else would like to see, I'm thinking possibly maybe doing an awk video in the future. If there's any other topics anyone would like to see for a how-to, throw the suggestions my way. Feel free to email me, questions@eclecticgeek.guru. I'm always looking for any new ideas for videos and whatnot. Please go ahead and check out my series on Nagios, the open source service monitoring tool. It's currently undergoing production right now and ongoing. We've got several more videos coming out right now. We hope to have that going in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and that will probably be going for the next 2 to 3 months. After that, we'll be doing a video series on Apache, and then if there's any other subject matter on an IT perspective anyone would like to see, let me know. Otherwise, I'm always open to other suggestions in that field as well. I look forward to hearing back from anyone, and as again, this is Sir Charles, the Eclectic Geek. I look forward to hearing back from you. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.